All right, Coach Hood. Going on 4 years, correct?
Correct.
Is this the longest stint as a head coach at a program you've had?
Definitely. Longest stint as a head coach and an assistant coach, both.
Really? How many programs had you been on like prior to getting here?
Prior to Pebblebrook, let me think. El Dorado, West Memphis, Fort Smith, Springdale, Tift County, Turner County, now Pebblebrook. I've been a part of 6 different programs. 7. 5 different as an assistant and 2 as a head coach.
2 as a head coach. Where are you like originally from?
Originally from Arkansas.
Okay, Arkansas. Okay,
Originally from Arkansas.
Not too far from Texas.
No, not too far. Not too far.
Yeah. No, I'm from Houston, Texas. Okay.
Yeah, got family in Houston.
Okay.
Houston, Dallas, Killeen, a little bit everywhere, all over Texas, but definitely.
Okay. 5 different teams, assistant coach, 2 jobs before this as a head coach.
Right.
Last year was y'all best year by far in the program, the best year in probably 20 years.
Yeah,
very long time.
Yeah.
You got here 2019, 2020.
Correct.
Y'all go 3-7.
Correct.
Have a 4-game losing streak throughout that season.
Correct.
Next season, 2020, 2021, y'all improved drastically. You go 6-5, get a first round playoff exit.
That's right.
You only have a 3-game losing streak throughout that season.
Right.
Then you got last year.
Right.
Last year, you go 2 months, at least 2 months before losing the game.
Unblemished, 8-0-1. So we went 9 weeks without a loss.
Right. You went 9 weeks without a loss. And you're going into your 4th year now. When you think about like, in some situations of life, the 4th year marks a graduation into something. If we're talking about school, so to speak.
That's right.
If we apply that theme to this program, to yourself, in this 4th year for you, what does this team, this program, what do you envision y'all graduating to going into this 4th year?
I mean, in the football world, year 4 is that year. Most coaches believe that year 4 is the year where things should be clicking, the culture should be set. Normally, the cohesiveness as far as the team, the staff, all of that should be gelled by that year 4. And a lot of times you get to year 4 and some people have a drop off. But for me, year 3 was a year that, for me, it wasn't a surprise. I feel like year 2, we could have been just as good as we were this past season in year 2. But just like anything else, things take time. And in football, the ball sometimes don't bounce your way. Because in that season, that second season, we lost 3 games by a combined 8 points, with that 6-5 record. Like I said, it's been a building process since I've been here, going from 3-7, 6-5, 9-2. Going into this year 4, I expect some big things because a lot of these kids, I got here in March 2019. A lot of these kids I can remember from the first day I set eyes on them. The C.J. Adams, the Sakai Brooks, the John Floyds, the Tyler Scotts, the Dwight Phillips. All of these guys, I've had them since they were in 8th grade, 8th, 9th grade. So going into year 4, it's like they're my kids. In year 1, I feel like they were my own, but after year 4, they know you know them, you know what buttons to push. They know what buttons to push, and they know the standard as far as what I expect out of them and the coaching staff. So year 4 is definitely going to be an exciting year for everyone, given that we have a large senior class. We got guys getting opportunities to play at the next level once it's done. So we got a lot of things to play for this year, and we're definitely shooting to have a better season this season.
What type of mindset do you, well, I'll give you this first. Interviewing you last year after y'all beat North Atlanta, I remember you saying, verbatim, quote, games are not won during the season, they're won during the off season. You said that with a lot of conviction, that you believed it in your soul. And when I heard you say
no doubt,
there's a mindset to have when you're going into the off season after a 3-7 season. There's a mindset to have when you 6-5 and 3 or 4 of those games you lost by a combined 8 points. There's a mindset to have, okay, I need to do this, try to do this for the off season.
Right.
What is the mindset for a head coach for a program that you're trying to get everybody to buy into when you lose your first game towards the end of the season, your final game of the regular
Right,
season?
right. After that loss to Collins Hill, the eventual state champion, I mean, guys were, we were down that night, but by Monday, guys were already ready, suit up. The juniors, they knew that they had became seniors after that loss, and they were already thinking of ways to improve as far as a team. And one of those areas was leadership. So we did a lot of things in the off season as far as accountability, team building, things just to get our chemistry down and have guys to be able to depend on one another where they can go out there and do their job.
You last year you was able to get a playoff win under your belt before, like you say, losing in that second round. And you said last year, people would, joke and mimic you. You know the standard, you know the expectations.
Right.
Simple
No
and
doubt.
plain, nothing more, nothing less.
That's right.
With all that y'all accomplished last year, can you say y'all lived up to or y'all met the standard and the expectation last year?
I will say that we did meet the expectation. We did meet the standard last year because one goal of ours was to have a winning season. We did that. The other was to make the playoffs. We did that. We were one bad half away from a region title, which that was one goal of ours, but we know what we need to do as far as accomplishing, getting that region title. So I would say that we've reached our goals and a lot of things that we set out to do last year. So I would say, give or take, last year we met the standard the majority of the time. Now there were times where we were down as far as the team, but overall I think it was a very good year for us as far as meeting the standard that I set for the kids.
Again, you're in year 4. You've progressed each year you've been here. You have students who buy in, like you say. You've seen these kids since they were freshmen. They're seniors now. You have a coaching staff around you. I've seen different coaches, and like I say, following high school football, Texas high school football, like
Right,
that.
big.
Right. 4 years just because you come into a new program, ain't no guarantees you're going to make the type of progress that you specifically has made. Some
Right.
coaches don't make it past year 2,
Right.
and they still trying to get people to buy in year 3.
That's right.
How has Coach Hood been successful here at Pebblebrook?
I think one of the biggest things is the love, that I've shown, the kids. Not only the kids, the love I've shown, the community and everyone around me. I think, the kids know that I have their best interests at heart, as well as my admin trust me to know that I'm going to put Pebblebrook at the forefront of everything we do. And as far as me and the recipe, I wouldn't say it's a recipe, but if you treat people well and you work hard and you do those things, I feel like anything can be accomplished with that. But as far as Pebblebrook, it's a special place, and I feel like it takes a special person to come in here and do the things we've done at Pebblebrook, because I'm not going to say the job's been easy. Every year it's been different. This year in the off season, like you say, what's the approach after 3-7, 6-5, 9-2? Now that we get to 9-2-1, is can we handle success? Because there's been a lot of that going on as far as my boys. I'm not going to keep it in the bag. There's a lot of guys walking around, with their chest out, man. We were 9-2-1. We beat Parkview. We got over 11 kids with scholarship offers right now. This is something that Pebblebrook has never done nor seen. So for them, this is like I've hit the lotto. Like it's over with, it's done. But for me, I'm like, hey guys, we just scratching the surface of what Pebblebrook can be and what you all can be individually. So the biggest thing is keeping these guys humble. And I spent more time in the off season trying to keep us humble, as opposed to doing a lot of X's and O's, to be honest with you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Again, going undefeated all the way up until your last game of the regular season, and looking at their record, I'm like, okay, 8-0-1, you finished 2-1. It's really no room for like regression. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like if you were to only win 7 games, that would, for some teams that's a highlight, but for y'all that's a step backwards.
That's a step backwards. And we actually have a tougher region. Not taking anything away from the teams that left our region, but the teams that came into our region were quarterfinal teams last year in the 6A. One of them made the semis, if I'm not mistaken, and one of them knocked the other one out in Carrollton and Westlake, with them being in our region now, moving to 7A and being in our region. So On paper, Pebblebrook, people are aware of us, but I would say that most people on paper would say because of those programs already being established and have great head coaches, that they're going to put those guys in front of us right now, which I can understand. But we have every intention to go into this season game by game and try to compete and win that region title.
11 guys scholarship offers. Has the personnel changed much from last year compared to this year?
The personnel hasn't changed. The only change we do have a transfer and a running back, Janarius Jackson, transferred from Forest Park. He's a Miami, Ohio commit, big bruising back, 6'1", 220, every bit of it. We got to see him in the spring in action, so he's going to bring something to us that we have been lacking as far as that power back in an area where we have struggled a little bit, which is in the red zone. So with us getting him and his transfer and him moving into our school district has been great for us, and it's going to be able to set us up to be able to run the ball, which is something I would love to do. So that's a nice addition to have. We also have one more transfer that'll be in the fold, and he's a quarterback. We do have a returning quarterback in Kamar Grant, big-time player. He has Division I offers as well. But we have a kid, Rico Jones, transferred over from New Manchester. You saw him out there today. Actually, grew up in this neighborhood, played park ball. So all of these kids he grew up around. So as far as the chemistry with the kids off the field, it's been easy as far as him. But he's definitely a player that I feel like is going to help us out tremendously because he can play any position on the field.
Can you talk about, for the people who may not know you or even know the uprising that's coming from Pebblebrook and you being the head coach? Because you talk a little bit just about your playing days and your upbringing from Arkansas.
No doubt. Just a little bit about my as far as me, man, my background, I grew up playing football. I'm a country boy from the Mississippi Delta, Arkansas. A lot of people think Arkansas is a place up north, but it's just as southern as places in Georgia. I come from a small town. My hometown has 7 state championships in football. 7. 5 of those state championships came through my family. As far as playing quarterback, I had 2 older cousins. They won 3 before me, and I was able to win 2. And my brother actually played for one his senior year, my sophomore year, and we lost by 1 in the state championship. Then I came back my junior and senior year, and we won it all. Reeled off 28 straight games, 15-0. I was the 1998. That's telling my age. MVP. I played quarterback and cornerback. Signed with the University of Arkansas out of high school. Played for the Razorbacks for a year. They moved me around different positions, freshman, normal freshman stuff, Ansley, wanting to play, red shirt. They going on trips on Saturday to Auburn and LSU, and we getting our lift-ins on Friday, and we on campus by ourselves. So that was kind of hard to deal with. But going back, I have no regrets. So I ended up transferring to Arkansas Tech, which was in the Gulf South Conference, tough conference. The SEC of D2, if you ask me, because you're pulling the same type of kids, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, all those places. So went there, 4-year starter, all-conference player, made the Division II playoff second round my senior year, went to camp with the Chiefs, got cut, played overseas in Europe. My degree was in communications. Had no intention on coaching. But I got out in the real world. Once I got done playing ball in Europe, I was actually in Texas. In Dallas. I worked for the Verizon Yellow Pages for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Got enough to give me a check and a half. And I was like, no, this is not the broadcast booth, and this is definitely not in the radio station, which is what I thought going into communications. But like I know, those jobs are not ready available, just like anything, right place, right time type of thing. So anyway, got into coaching, went the non-traditional way, and I hadn't looked back since. Best decision I ever made.
No intentions on coaching. What drew you to coaching then?
To be honest, my father's a pastor, has always been involved in the community. I grew up in the church, and I was always involved in the community. When I was in high school, I was always in the neighborhood, playing with the kids. When I came back home from college, kids always has taken a liking to me, always gravitated to me ever since I was a teenager. In college, and I've always gave back. When I go back home, By the time I can get my bag out of my small town, 5,500 people, by the time I can get my bag out of my car, somebody's gonna pass by, stop. Hey, my nickname Fat. That's when I know I'm at home. And by then, you might have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kids. By then, I got a yard full of about 20, 30 people because of that love that I've given and shown the community. And they appreciate me because of the things, that I've done. And, I appreciate them because I feel like without, my upbringing, I wouldn't even be in the position, I am now. So I always try to give back to that small town in McGee, Arkansas. Always.
What was the town again?
McGee, Arkansas.
McGee. Okay.
McGee, Arkansas. We got plenty of cotton, we got plenty of rice, and we got plenty of mosquitoes.
I heard that. It's so easy to, every coach, right, feels great to a degree about their team this time of the season, this off season. You went through spring, you ain't played nobody yet, you may be getting ready for your scrimmage.
Right.
Majority of the coaches was like, I feel good, but they could just be being optimistic
to
a degree, right?
You're right.
What's, if you will, what's the rawest, realest, just honest, if you will, thought process about how you feel about this team going into this season? If we need to edit it, we will.
Right, okay. To be honest, how I feel about this team, if we were to just look at this 10-game schedule. We talking about wins and losses. Being optimistic, being realistic. I feel like we could do anything from 2-8 to 10-0, depending on which team shows up on Monday, not Friday. Which team shows up on Monday when we go to work, as far as when we preparing for that next opponent on that Friday night. So with my particular program, Pebblebrook, our kids go home to a lot of different things. So they only get so much of what me and my coaches pour into them. So with any teenager, you got girlfriends, you got stuff at home, teacher might did something. So you never really know what you're gonna get, but I really feel good about the off season we've had. I feel good about the work we put in as a staff. And I feel good about the kids' attitude right now as far as their approach. I was worried about them being humble, but I really feel like we're hungry. And if we go out with the mentality that they have consistently shown, I think sky's the limit and we can go just as far as anybody else in the state of Georgia.
Yes, sir. You talk about how the love you gave out in Arkansas and people just gravitating towards you and that kind of helping steer you in the direction of coaching and you helping kids. How has being a coach and serving others helped you?
Man, it's definitely helped me because I feel like my fuel is helping other people. And I get a lot out of that. Like I say, my dad raised me to be, an upstanding man, a great citizen. So I try to convey the things that he's put into me and to the world and to these other people. I feel like if I can't make you better, then I shouldn't be around you. If when Coach Hood comes around, I need to be able to feel comfortable, feel safe around him, be able to talk to him and know that he has my best intention. He has, good intentions on me and my life going forward. But as far as me and my approach and the way I was raised, I feel like that just is a huge part of what makes me the coach I am right now. I know a lot of people talk about players, coaches, and I feel like I'm a mix. I feel like I can be a player coach and I can be that 1960, 1970, 1980 hard-nosed coach because that's what I come from as well. But now you have to mesh all those things in there together just like anything else, just like some good old gumbo. You got to throw a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And what I have learned is my approach towards things. Now, my foundation's never going to change. That basis, that standard's never going to change. But do we make adjustments from year to year, week to week? Yes, we do, because it's different things that come about where you got to change it. I can't, okay, I did it this way last year. I can't have that same approach this year because it's a different set of variables that's going on around you, especially with construction, logistics, and just the day-to-day life and grind of everybody having their own thing going on. So you got to make adjustments along the way.
Was there anything in particular that stood out to you about Pebblebrook High School and the football program that made you take the job?
There were a few things. I had one person, actually, my wide receiver coach that's here right now, Coach Connor. Me and him go way back. Me and his brother were roommates at the University of Arkansas, so I know I've known him forever. Even when I was in Arkansas, I would come to Georgia visit. He's the guy I would stay with when I came to visit. But he was here working, and he knew I was in South Georgia at Turner County, and he seen my work. He saw me coach as an assistant at Tift County. You know, he seen me and nationally knew the type of coach I was, and not only the type of coach I was, the type of person I was. So anyhow, he gives me a phone call. Hey, Pebblebrook's open. You know, and before I got to Georgia, of course, I never heard of Pebblebrook, but he said it's open. So I was like, okay, all right. So I applied. After getting a lot of information, as far as I was told, they have athletes, coach. They got some athletes. You know, I called coaches. I called people in the community. I talked about, they said the community was a good community. They talked about the kids being hard-nosed. I talked about having some athletic kids. And they said that if you can keep them, in your middle school, Lindley, 100% feeder, if you can keep them, coach, you have a shot. Now, you got some other stuff you're going to be fighting, but if you could keep your kids, you got a shot. And I was able to do that. In the 4 years, going in my year 4, I've only lost one kid. And I can't necessarily say I lost them, but one kid through this whole process. The middle school, we joined to the hip with the middle school now. In the past, whatever, there was a disconnect, but I made that connection when I got here. I was at every practice, every game of my middle school because they were really good. And I knew I was trying to build a program, and it starts with those young guys. So, like I said, I got information about it. I knew they had athletes, good community, not bad resources, or so on and so what. So I said, why not? I said, let's do it. And they were a below average team, and I knew with the right, guidance, right support, I knew that, sky would be the limit for a place like Pebblebrook once I started digging more and more and more. Now, when I got here, there were some things that frustrated me, from a culture standpoint, but those things got better and better and better as I went. Now, it was rough, but they got better and better as I went, and I really feel like this will be, for years to come, a really, really good program at Pebblebrook, and I feel like, we blazed the trail for that.
Absolutely. Just look at your track record. Numbers don't lie, baby.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers do not lie.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach.
No doubt.